Hey everyone, Oz here. Today I want to talk about a very special topic. I want to cover the 5 reasons why people fail at what they do. A lot of times what's being talked about, what's popular, is to talk about how to create success, how to create massive income, how to generate 20, 30, 40K a month, how to buy a Lamborghini, how to get rich and things like that. And I do have videos like that as well, so I'm not contradicting myself. But today I want to talk about the elephant in the room. Why do most people fail? And if I were to categorize them properly, I come up with 5 reasons why they do fail. And I'm going to start covering that, all right? The first one is the ultimate acceptance of the failure. So I talked to thousands of people, and I look back my records. So far, close to 2 million people have seen my messages through videos like this, and over 10,000 people I talked to them in person, either through my talks or one-on-one calls and things like that. And after you talk to that many people, you got to be stupid not to see a pattern, right? So the type of people I see, some of them belong to the category one. Number one, that causes their failure is that they accepted failure. They know that there's no other way to get out of their situation. They say things like, "You don't understand, Oz. You don't understand my situation. I've tried everything. Nothing seems to be working." So if someone says that, just kind of stop for a second and think about what they're doing to themselves, right? First of all, they haven't freaking tried everything. Like that's just a lie, right? That's just the mindset bullshit. They haven't tried everything. Number two is they're closing the door for any future improvement. Why? Because they're saying, you know what, Oz, neither you or anyone else can help me because I've tried everything. I've done my part. It is not my responsibility. So they're getting the responsibility off of them because in their mind, probably they've been telling to their relatives and their wife and kids and their husband, whoever, that they've been trying this, they've tried everything and everything, nothing seems to be working. And you and I know that that's impossible. That's impossible that you tried everything and nothing is working. So first of all, they don't want to take the responsibility. Second is they accepted defeat. They accepted defeat, that they're telling you that there's no other way. Why are they doing that? They don't want to change. They don't want you to tell them something or put them on the spot. So if they did truly apply it, it would have changed their current situation, but then that would have caused other problems for them, right? So although they complain about their current situation, there is something that they do like about it. I know it's just, it's odd, but people do that thing to themselves. They kind of self-sabotage, right? They say they want to do, it's like saying, I want to be a millionaire. Like, all right, I want to be a millionaire tomorrow. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Or they want to build $1 million, but they don't want to do the work required for that. Therefore, they say, I tried everything, it just doesn't work. There's nothing out there that works. Or my situation is so unique that there is no one that can help me. So when I hear that, I understand what's going through their mind. They're just closing that opportunity because someone kind of might pick on their armor and call them out on that, right? So that's one of the first reasons that people fail, because they accept failure and they want to stay in that situation and don't want to change. It's very difficult to change that person. Why is that? Because it's like trying to treat a patient who's not going to take the medication you give them, right? You tell someone, listen, you're seriously sick, so you better take this medication to get better, and they give you all the reasons why they can't get better. Because I have this, I have that, I tried all these medications, but it doesn't work, so I'm not going to get better. So they want to protect their current situation for whatever reason. People have weird reasons for that, right? That's number one. Number two is some people are stuck in their past. Usually I hear things like, listen, man, back then things were amazing. I was doing 30 grand per month, 40 grand per month. Then the economy tanked. Now I miss those days, and I just, I want to be able to do it, but there's nothing right now that I can do that would give me that level of income. So they keep telling themselves that story of what it used to be back then. So that's the relatively positive experience. So they're referring back to the positive experience. I was making this much. The life was like that back then. Now I don't have that opportunity. So that's why they're not even attempting to try to change the situation, because they already self-defeated, saying that, well, no matter what I do, it's not going to be like that anymore. or it is something that happened in the past, something tragic, right? They've been through some kind of trauma, or maybe they lost someone. People go through a lot of stuff, and because of that, they are afraid that that event or series of events might repeat themselves if they put themselves out there, if they try something new. That kind of defeated them so bad in the past that left a very deep mark in their lives, whatever that happened, right? People go through things in life, they don't even want to try it anymore because they're afraid it might repeat itself. So the things I hear from people who are in that situation is, let's say if it is related to the Blueprint program, they say, as I've tried 20 other programs before and I got scammed in all of them. None of them seem to be working. I lost a lot of money, and that's why I'm not going to do anything. I literally had someone last night email me saying that, you know what, I'd rather not pay through PayPal because I had a problem with them 10 years ago. So this person had a problem with PayPal 10 years ago, and they stopped using it, and they're just so afraid that that problem might occur again, that they're using that as an excuse to not to do something, right? What I want to tell you is, I don't know what you have been through. You don't know what I have been through. We've been through a lot of things. But when I look at the biography of successful people, it's very rare that they came from very positive upbringings. Usually they came from very tragic lives. They either lost their parents, or they've been abused physically, mentally, psychologically, sexually. They failed many times. They've been homeless. They've been an addict. They've been through that. They've been through that, this and that, and so many other things in between. But they still came through and succeeded. So whatever you've been going through, or whatever you're going through right now, maybe you recently lost your job, or maybe you're on the verge of losing your job. Maybe you took a really dip on your income. Maybe your relationship life is a mess. Your marriage is a mess. Like, I don't know what's going on, and I feel for you. I might not be able to empathize with everything you go through. Same thing with you against me. But know that your biography up to this point does not equal your destiny, your future. You can still change it, but it starts with you. You have to make that decision. If you find yourself belonging to the second category, you're afraid to do something right now to succeed because of some event that happened in the past that caused you to create this story that you've been telling yourself over and over again. What I want you to do is kind of acknowledge what that story is. What have you been telling yourself that's in the way of you succeeding at the level that you define, whatever that success means to you? Because the fact is, you cannot succeed without failing, right? You cannot attempt to do something and usually get it right on the first shot. It's very rare that someone is going to, if we talk in the financial terms, someone is going to go from $0 to $1 million without any failure. There are going to be many smaller, big failures along the way, but it is nothing in comparison to a complete failure, which is the failure of someone accepting that they failed and they stopped trying. I think that's the ultimate failure. If someone says, no more, I'm done. Like nothing seems to be working, right? So this second category, like if you catch yourself telling a story, and if you don't know what your story is, you can tell yourself, no, man, I haven't been telling a story. Like I'm telling the reality. You know, nothing is holding me back, and things like that. We all have things that are holding us back, including myself, including anyone, including Bill Gates. We all have that, because that becomes, as you go through life, you're collecting memories, and those memories, if you notice, we only remember a small percentage of what we go through every single day, right? When you look back, there's no way you can remember every single day that you go through, but you remember certain events, and those certain events build up your character, your biography, and that biography causes you to make decisions based on your past experiences. That's why people say, I got burned before, I'm not doing that again. That's a self-defense mechanism, right? So they don't want to repeat that same mistake over and over again. But you got to be careful. If that's leading you to not even try, well then, if you haven't learned the right lesson from it. So I just want everyone to recognize this story. If you don't recognize this story, ask people around you that you've been talking to for a while. They're going to tell you exactly what you have been telling them about your journey, right? So that's number two. Number three is ego. So Number three are the type of people who fail at things because for whatever reason, they don't see a reason to improve themselves. It's the ego thing. They think they know everything. They're not okay to submit to something else or somebody. So it could be a book that they can read that will make the situation better for them, or a mentor that they can get the mentorship from. That's why I strictly decline people who are in this category to my program and any kind of business that I do. If someone thinks that they know everything, if they, one out of 1 through 10, if they believe they're a 10, well, then there is nothing I or anyone else can add to make that better, because they already think that they're at the ultimate highest level. That's the ego speaking, right? So we all have those moments because we're emotional creatures. So our ego sometimes will tell us, dude, I'm made. I got this. I'm at the highest spot that I can ever go. But that is far from the truth usually. There are so many things that we can learn from other people. But if someone is in this category, they think that no one can tell them anything. They're so protective of their identity. It's usually they're so afraid to be called out on certain things. Like they don't want to face the reality because they think that, because they know they won't be able to handle it if someone were to call them out and say, dude, that's bullshit, man. You don't know everything. Look at what you have been doing so far. Has that been making you happy? You made this decision, that decision, and that didn't lead you to that place. And now you're telling yourself or everyone around you you're being really, really protective. So they don't, you think they don't see that through, but everyone around you sees that through, man. Your ego is hurting you, right? If that's really the case for some people, it's very difficult to change them because the ego is on the way. And again, a lot of us go through that, but if it becomes a habit, if it becomes of who you are in general, that's very difficult to make a change. And those people will fail a lot of things, but they will never acknowledge that they do, right? Number four, people who look for a shortcut. These are the people who jump from one project to another, one business to another, the bright, shiny object, because they think that if they find something, that would just give them the shortcut. So instead of going through something for a couple of years, they can just do that in a month and blow it out of water. To be honest, out of the 5 categories, I was in this category for a long time. I thought that being entrepreneur meant that you start businesses. I started creating businesses. At some point, I had 4 separate businesses, and that made me really good because, from the books I was reading and the people that I was following, I noticed that they had multiple businesses, and I thought, you know what, this is it, man. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have multiple businesses. All of them will bring money. Then I'll be really rich really fast instead of focusing on one thing and making a lot of money through that and giving time. So that's a flawed thought process, right? That's the bright, shiny object. You jump to the next thing that you see. Grass looks greener on the other side, and you think that that's going to work. And if it doesn't give you results, then you jump to the next thing and things like that. So these are the people who constantly want to take the shortcut. That's, entrepreneurial type of people are usually like that, right? And that leads them to failure. And I noticed at some point, I was talking to my mentor at the point, and I said, I'm working 20 hours a day. And he said, well, why are you working so much? Well, I said, well, that's what you do. Well, what kind of question is that? I'm a business owner, so I have businesses I have to work on. He said, how many businesses do you have? I said, 4 businesses. He said, all right, let's write it down. Tell me how much each one is making right now. That was deep because I knew the answer to that, but I didn't want to accept it. Since I wasn't able to get I didn't have depth with any of them. It was the surface level. It was just a title I've given myself, serial entrepreneur. This guy owns multiple businesses, but I didn't want to acknowledge that they were all failing businesses. Like I wasn't succeeding with them. I wasn't putting my focus in one thing because I believed in short-term return immediately. Like I would start all of them. So that question was an eye-opener. So when I actually, and it wasn't easy for me, when I actually got ready to prepare the facts, I pulled a piece of paper and wrote down what's happening in each business. It was sad to look at it, but that was the moment that I decided I wanted to get rid of 3 of them and focus on 1 of them. That was the most transformational moment in my life. Like I focused on that one, that business took off, right? That's on the positive end. So entrepreneurial people are usually positive. They want to make a positive change. They want to generate great results for themselves, and they do multiple things, right? So these are the people who try to take a shortcut. But that there are people who use this in the negative side, and that those are the ones who want to take a shortcut, but at the same time, they're looking for reasons why something would not work. Instead of looking for being positive minded and looking for reasons on why something would work if they were to apply it, they spend their entire time trying to find ways why something would not work and bring it up to other people, saying that, see, I knew this was not going to work. That's why I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do something else, right? So they're not okay to submit themselves and follow a proven process. They constantly look for reasons. Like we have, so through our customers, very small percentage, but we get sometimes, we have thick filters to eliminate people who are not a good fit for the blueprint. But sometimes, you know, some people slip through and you see them, they kind of blast the support team with like 30 emails per day, and they just want to know every single detail, like why is this, why is that? Have you guys thought about it? They even want to help us improve certain things, but instead of focusing on the most important thing, which is building your business, right? Those are the people who have difficulty succeeding in life and in certain things, because they think they're just being detail oriented and being cautious, but it is costing them more than that, because they're just looking for reasons why they would not spend more time and have depth in certain things, and they would move on to the next thing, right? They don't a lot of times do it willingly, but that's what ends up happening. They kind of build up these stories that say, oh, look at this is not working, so I got to do something else. Then they start something else brand new, while this thing was about to give them results, and they just were not patient enough just for that. So I covered the topic of that feedback delay, and you know, you start a business and it takes a certain amount of time before you see some kind of results. That delay feedback is really important. And if you want to know more about it, I think I've covered that in my last live call answering questions about the blueprint. It's in my YouTube channel. You can check that out. So last one are the people who are overly optimistic. So far we covered, the number one was the people who just accepted defeat, accepted failure. The second one was people who got stuck in the past. They kind of bought into their story of why they're not succeeding, and they're just repeating that over and over again. Third kind of people are the people with ego. They think they know everything, and you know, they're not open to learning it. Fourth is the one who want to take a shortcut. They're always looking for the best shortcut, which is fine, but then it gets to the point of being a perfectionist, that you're looking for the most perfect opportunity, and doing that, you just waste too much time. The last one is people who think that positive thinking alone will bring them success. These are the people who have a lot of wishful thinking, or they have mantras that they repeat, affirmations they repeat in the morning to stay motivated without action. So I do that too. I motivate in the morning. I write down my goals a couple of times a day. I have my affirmations, but it has to be backed up by action. You can't just close your eyes and wish that someone is gonna mail you $1 million check and get that. No one has accomplished anything that way. So being positive minded is super important. But if you're using that as a way to not to take action, because when someone is positive, that person grabs attention of other people, right? Other people want to surround that person, want to talk to that person, want to feel that energy, because they have a vibrant personality usually. They have a charismatic personality. But then something doesn't add up when you look at those people. Like, I thought he would be more successful than he is currently, or she is, right? Because they're just so positive. They think that's going to solve the problems, but a lot of times what they're ignoring the problem. They're not facing their current reality. They're not diligently working towards solving that problem. So the situation with these type of people, they want to jump off a plane without a parachute and hoping that they're going to land in a smooth ground. They're just so positive that things will be fine a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Things will change. Money will come to them. That's all nice and fine, but unfortunately in life, if you don't plan for it, the change will happen automatically, but it's just not going to happen in the direction you want to see it, right? That's just how life is. So you can wish your way. You might think that you can wish your way to success, it's just not going to happen. So staying positive is key, but unfortunately, this group of people, they're just overly positive without any plan on the back end, right? That's why it makes it very difficult to bring them to the current reality, because they're just so positive. You don't want to burst their bubble and tell them, but the good mentor, good friend would be the one, dude, buddy, you're a great person. I love your energy, but it needs to be channeled the right way so that it turns into results. It's backed up by the results, right? You don't want to be too positive that you kind of block your way to success. That's not a good way to progress in life and anything you do. So these are the 5 categories, and each one of them have probably subcategories that would cause someone not fail. And believe it or not, each one of us at certain points belong to one of the category, right? But if you find yourself in 2, 3 of them altogether predominantly, that's usually when you run into problems, right? That's why not only I wanted to kind of walk through what causes people to fail, because failure happens every single day, and you can't really succeed without failure. I think the biggest failure in my mind is doing nothing. We only have one life to live. At least that's my belief, unless you believe in reincarnation. And you go through that life, and if you want to have no failure at all, you should just do nothing. You should live like a plant, eat crap and sleep and do nothing, and that you'll be safest. But to me, going through a life like that is the biggest failure. You're given this chance to make a change for yourself, and you can't really cause a change in others unless you change yourself. If that's the case, then what are we waiting for? Why are we not making the change that we want? Because success is a progressive process. You don't do something and boom, you're successful. No, you succeed and fail along the way. And success is recognizing what you failed at and not doing it in the next stage, but still progressing towards something. What makes people happy is not the awards, accolades, the money, and things like that. You might argue against that, but what makes people happy is the progress. They're working towards something step by step, building something. Usually people who stop their progress are the ones who go into depression. Like even people who move into retirement at an early age and stop doing anything because they made it, either they come up with a disease or they pass away at an early age, or they start various addictions because their progress has stopped. That's the worst thing that can happen to someone. I think that's the biggest success, that if you're constantly progressing towards your goal, that's the ultimate success. But stopping and trying to protect you from things that could happen to you, trying to eliminate your risk from anything, is to me the biggest failure. So hope this helps. And comment below and let me know if you have any questions. All right, take care now. Bye-bye.